Hip hop is 50 years old. It's a beautiful thing, man. 50 years of hip hop. It's relatively young. To be technical, actually, my dad is older than hip hop. My mom is older than hip hop, which is weird to say. But yeah, shout out to hip hop, man. Shout out to the culture. Shout out to everybody who's participated and made it what it is. The only thing worse than getting old is not getting old. So to see 50 years in any aspect of anything is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. That means that we're on a good track to hitting 60 years and 75 years and 100 years. And that means that the people involved took the initiative to push the culture forward and to progress. And that's a lot to say. You know what I mean? Like, things don't, a lot of things, people, events don't make it to 50 years. So this is a great accomplishment for hip hop, for the culture, for everybody involved, for New York City. Shout out to the Bronx, shout out to New York City, the home of hip hop. A lot of dope events going on in the city this weekend. The concert at Yankee Stadium was immaculate. You got to see Lil Wayne share the stage with Wu-Tang, or acts like that. Like, just to give you an example, I don't know how often things like that happen, but it was beautiful, man. It's a beautiful thing. 50 is on his last lap tour. This is his last tour, you know what I mean? So that was going on. That was going on this weekend. A lot of things hip hop. A lot of things hip hop going on this weekend. A lot of great things. It's funny that hip hop is turning 50 years old, and 50 was actually having his last tour dates, you know what I mean, at the same time, because I want to say that, not my introduction, but 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying, was was when I fell in love with hip hop. That wasn't my first. It wasn't my introduction, but it was when That was when like things took a turn for me. I'm thinking, what is it? What was 50? 03, like 02, 03. And I remember it vividly. I remember having that CD. I remember my dad buying that CD for me. That year we were moving down to Virginia and listening to it the whole ride, like on our way down to Virginia, listening to it the whole ride. Me, my mother, my brother, and my father. And just, that was the first time that rap hit like that for me. Like that I understood it, that it moved me. That was the beginning of that. You know what I mean? My very first tape I ever brought, I'm showing my age, right? Actual tape I ever brought was Mace. I think Harlem World. So that was my initial introduction into the culture, into hip hop, into rap. And that was who I wanted to be initially, you know what I mean? Mace, like Mace. I'll never forget the cover. He had the baby blue Yankee on to the back. I went and got a baby blue Yankee hat, fitted hat, you know what I mean? This is back then. This is the 90s, like. So, yeah, man. But back to 50, back to 50. 50 changed rap for me. it was at a time where I was coming into my own. My parents were letting me express myself, and giving me the freedom to grow into a young man. And that album, that Get Rich or Die Trying album, was different. It was a different kind of rap. It was a different vibe in the city at the time. And from that point forward, 50 was the GOAT to me. It's been my favorite artist. Well, one of my favorite artists next to Hov. Since Get Rich or Die Trying, the album was amazing. So to see 50 making his last run, doing his tour, bringing out A Boogie and Don Q, and to see him share the stage with Fat Joe was crazy, because I think only people who lived in New York understand like what them squashing their beef and coming together, what that means, what it represents. And like I said, with hip hop being 50, it represents growth, progression. Two of the baddest, toughest crews in the city. It was bad. It was bad at a time when they was going at it. So to see them share stage, 50 bring Fat Joe out, it was dope, man. It was dope. Shout out to Fifth, man. Big fan, big G Unit fan. All my niggas, you know what I mean? Like we came up, we G Unit, you know what I mean? Rel, Nut, them niggas know. G Unit, we G Unit. Niggas was G Unit it out, for real, word. So shout out to Fifth, shout out to G Unit, man. Shout out to, like I said, shout out to culture, man. Like the culture wins again. The culture wins again. Damn. Speaking of the culture, speaking of rap and shit like that, Tory Lanez gets 10 years for a leg shot. I'm gonna take a sip on that. My man Tory got 10 years for a fucking leg shot. That's crazy. And I don't know all the details of like his charge or whatever, but I don't know if it's like I don't know exactly what his charge is. I don't know if he got the max because he went to trial, but 10 years for a leg shot is crazy. 10 years for a leg shot is ridiculous, man. I know people. No, I'm not gonna go that far. The maximum, the max for manslaughter in California is 11 years. So Tory Lanez got a year less. Tory Lanez got a year less than the max for manslaughter for shooting somebody in the foot. For those of you who aren't familiar with a manslaughter charge, manslaughter is basically when somebody dies. Basically, if you shoot someone and the arm or the hand, the leg, somewhere where you didn't intend to kill them, like something that's not a headshot, you know what I mean? Something that's not above the waist, something that's not like uh life, like a life-threatening injury, or even like a stabbing. You know, long story short, manslaughter is when you kill someone by accident. Like when you commit a act of violence and someone gets hurt, but your intentions were not for this for your intentions weren't to kill this person, but in result of whatever the act was that you committed, they pass away. You know what I mean? So if I was to shoot somebody in a leg with no intent on killing them or something like that, like I'm just trying to, you know, wound them, and they happen to bleed out and pass away, that would be a manslaughter case. That would not be a murder. I didn't intentionally murder this person. If I'm not mistaken, like from my understanding, that would be a manslaughter. You know what I mean? Like unintentional death that unintentional death that was caused by an act of violence that, you know, that was an accident somewhat. That's my understanding. Tory actually shot a girl. Allegedly, Tory actually shot somebody. I want to say in the foot, in the leg, maybe. And they didn't die. They didn't spend an extensive amount of time recovering. From my understanding, Meg went right back to doing shows and dancing and shaking her ass. And I'm not saying that no knock to Meg, you know what I mean? Because if Tory Lanez shot her, then he should have to deal with the consequences of his actions. But 10 years for a leg shot is like, I don't know. That's unheard of, man. It almost seems to me that they're trying to make an example of Tory for whatever reason, and I just don't think that the judicial system works like that or should work like that. Like yeah, I'm not your poster. Like like don't make an example of me. Treat me just. That's it. Like whatever the law is, I understand that there's consequences to my actions, and treat me just. Treat me as such. But like I said, in California, the max for manslaughter is 11 years. He got a year less than what somebody would have gotten if somebody died in a situation. And I think that's ridiculous. I think that's crazy. I think it's unfair, and I think it's going to be. I think that it's going to be an ongoing thing. I don't think that this case is finished. I don't think that his team or his family are walking away from it like that. That's just my opinion. I don't see it fair. I don't see it fair. 10 years for that is like, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Completely unfair. Yeah, and I see it not ending this way. I don't see it ending this way at all. So shout out to Tory, man. Free Tory. Shout out to Meg. Shout out to her team. I'm definitely not saying that Tory shouldn't be locked up. I'm not saying that he should be locked up. I'm just saying that the punishment was the punishment don't match the crime. And I think that dealing with the law, dealing with the system, we have to remain fair, remain just, remain unbiased. And if this was a regular person, I mean, a regular person on the street with a family and stuff like that, I think it would be an outrage. I don't think that would even be a number. I don't even think that number would even come about if it wasn't a high profile person like Tory Lanez. I think that they're being ridiculous. I think that they're trying to make an example out of Tory, and I think it's extremely unfair. And it can't go that way. Like I don't think that 10 years is gonna stand. You know, I don't know if it's set in stone yet, but like I said, I don't think that that's gonna stand. You know, tap in, man. Like, subscribe, share. Get with me. Peace.